You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma, back with a golf podcast. It's been a couple of weeks. This is Masters week and it feels weird because there is no Masters. Today is Wednesday. This will probably go out tomorrow, so practice round would be as you're listening now. How does it feel? Before I say how does it feel, gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Jeremy Lamb and Mr. Jason Smith.
Hey, good to be here. Is it the Jeremy Lamb who played for the Thunder, or is it someone different?
Yeah, wouldn't it be great?
Do you get that a lot?
I get it a lot, yeah.
That's the first time I've never thought of that, ever.
Well, he was such a key component of the trade that ruined the franchise. My favorite thing to say to my patients is, I wish I was a 25-year-old NBA athlete. That would be pretty sweet.
That would be fantastic.
I'm just a Jeremy Lamb, not the Jeremy Lamb.
Okay, yeah. But Masters Week, you guys went, right? A couple of years ago? 3 years ago?
Gone 2 years in a row.
Right, once in a lifetime trip,
you
2 years in a row.
It's great. We're on TV on the par 3 contest. We've got it all planned out. So if anybody out there was planning a trip to the Masters, contact Jason Smith, and he will give you a step-by-step way to do it. We think Wednesday, I think, is a great day to go.
Yeah.
Because, the tournament, it's just a little more relaxed on Wednesday, right? You can't have phones on the course. Let you bring cameras in, and everyone's just a little more chill. You get to the weekend, it's big. It's a big deal. It's not as relaxed and loose, but I'm telling you, it is Disneyland for dads.
Yeah, I want to go.
It's amazing. I mean, they got everything down to a science, from the concession stands to the restrooms, everything. It is awesome. We can talk about this for a second if you want to.
I think we've got to. I think we got a story. I think, Mike, you invited Jared and I on mainly to just tell golf stories.
Yeah, talk golf, because, we've been playing a bit of golf together, and just me having the podcast and the golf that I play with you, we always have great conversations. Most of it we can't repeat anywhere else because it's just talking crap to each other, but this is a great opportunity to sit and chat and tell stories, and you being at the Masters is one of them. And before
so we got to start with his story about last year's Masters on Wednesday from Jeremy Lamb.
Well,
have you heard this one?
No, probably not.
So we had gone the year before, and we'd gone with a group of friends because somebody had won the lottery.
Right.
So about 8 of us went, and we all kind of split the difference, right? So you buy tickets on the street, and then we had 4 tickets for $75, and then we all just kind of divvied it up, and it was great. So we're like, hey, let's do that again. You go, and it's like this magical experience, and you go and you want to start bringing other people that you love to it. You're like, who do I care about the most that would love this? So we went 2 years ago, and then last year we said, let's bring our dads. My dad is dead. He passed away about 20 years ago, and I kind of have a couple men in my life that were like surrogate fathers to me.
Sure.
So one of them was one of my buddy's dads, and so we brought both of them. Jason brought his dad all the way from Oregon, and we showed up when we got there, and one of my buddies had bought tickets ahead of time off of eBay. I think $1,300 a piece. Yeah. And the year before we'd paid $500 on the street. And so Smitty and I are thinking, okay, well, we'll get in for maybe $1,500 a person or whatever. And for whatever reason, it was just nuts. The prices were crazy. And Smitty and I go, and he's going to buy a ticket for him and your dad. Yeah. And I got to buy a ticket for myself on the street that morning getting into the Wednesday practice round. I buy one from a local dealer, and reputable, like a real guy, not just like some homeless man in a box.
Some guy hasn't opened his jacket pocket and gone, check what I have for you right now.
If you don't want these Masters tickets, here's a Rolex.
And some Oakleys.
No, he was a very normal dude.
Yeah.
And Smitty, you bought one for you and your dad. What'd you end up paying?
Man, a lot more than I expected.
Okay, we don't have to say.
I think
it was a lot. Yeah, I'll tell you what I paid. So I bought my ticket, and I bought my ticket for $2,500.
One ticket.
One ticket to get me in.
Wednesday practice round.
Wednesday practice round, $2,500. Okay. And because I wanted to get in, and I wanted to go in there and be in there with my friends and their dads, and we're taking them on this trip, and so I get in, and they go ahead of me, and I find my ticket, and I come in. And I walk through the gates, and they scan my ticket, and it doesn't scan, and it won't scan, And the guy looks at me, and I'm like, let's try it again. He's like, where did you get this ticket? I was like, I just bought it. And he scans it, doesn't scan. He's like, you need to come with me. And he like grabs me by the arm and escorts me to a private security room at Augusta, where they take a photocopy of my driver's license and the ticket. And the guy just sits across from me and says, this ticket is fake, and you're going to have to leave. And I'm like losing my mind, right? It's like 8 in the morning. I think we probably got up at 4:30 in the morning, drove over from Athens, like,
Right.
and all my buddies are in, and nobody has a phone.
Super excited to be there.
Nobody has a phone. So I can't be like, oh, hey, let me text my friends. Hey, guys, I'm in the guard shack at Augusta, and I'm getting kicked out. I'll meet you. I'll figure out a way. So they literally then escort me out like, a criminal.
Yeah.
And as I'm being escorted out, I pass Jason and his dad. And they have just gotten in. They bought tickets off the street, and they got in.
Yeah.
Bought legitimate tickets.
And so I see you, and I think that's the most distraught I've ever seen you. And you looked at me and you're like, I bought a fake ticket. I'm getting kicked out of the Masters. And we can't communicate. I hand you the keys to the rental car that you later cannot find, which had your phone in it.
No.
And this is a part of the story, I'm guessing Katie will not listen to this podcast, but my wife, Katie, this is a part that she hates but I love this part. But for the next 5 hours, I'm having the time of my life with my dad, the trip of a lifetime.
Right.
And yet both of us look at one another and we're just like, Jer, I can't believe you bought a fake ticket. So we have this the joy of everything Masters, yet the pit of your stomach of that your best friend is out on the street with no money because we'd spent all of our money.
Oh, I had to stop by Chase and get a cash advance on my credit card because I didn't bring enough cash. I was like, well, I don't have enough money in my bank. I literally don't have enough money in my account to go buy another $2,500 ticket. And, I'm real creative. I'm an entrepreneur. I love to strategize. And by the time I got outside, I was already formulating. I'm like, okay, I'll figure this out. I can get back in. I'll figure it out. And I was kind of over it in 20 minutes, and I felt bad for my friend who's distraught,
literally having the time of his life, or supposed to be having the time of his life.
Yeah, it was great. I eventually got back in. I went back to the dealer. I told him what happened.
You found him?
I found him. I went right back to him, and I'm shaking, angry. I'm like, listen, man, I just spent $2,500, and he was super calm. He was like, no, my friend, I'm so sorry. Here's a new ticket. He hands me a fresh ticket. He's like, this happens sometimes when prices get this high. Because, again, they were 5 times what they were the year before.
Jeez.
And so he hands me a new ticket, and he's like,
try this one.
He's like, how much money back can I give you to make it fair? And I said, you can give me $500 back. And he said, sounds great. Handed me $500 cash, handed me a new ticket. He's from Georgia, so he prayed for me.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. He prayed for me and said, I hope you and your friends and your dads have a great time and good luck. And I got in and eventually met up with everybody in the afternoon, and it was awesome.
I got to one of the phone banks. I did not have your phone number or your wife's phone number because I don't have phone numbers in my head.
Who knows phone numbers?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I call my wife.
my own, and that's it.
I call my wife, and I don't even talk to her about the Masters or anything. I was just
Right.
like, I need Jeremy Lamb's phone number and Lori Lamb's phone number. And I scratch it into the green Masters phone booth because I have no pen, no paper, nothing to write on. I call you, and you don't answer. And I'm thrilled because I thought to myself,
Right.
if he didn't answer,
He's in.
That's
he's
a good
in.
thing. Yeah.
And then I called Lori. I was like, have you heard from Jer? And I don't even remember what she said.
Oh, my wife's we got 5 kids. She could really give 2 S's about what's happening to me on my dream trip of a lifetime. I mean, she'd be like, huh, Jay, what do you, listen, I gotta go, okay? I'm sure you guys have a good time. You'll figure it out.
So that's our Wednesday.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Masters.
So you got in and had a
Practice
great
run.
time.
So yeah, it's great. So, the drill on Wednesday is you get in, and the first thing you do is you go to the golf shop and you buy all your stuff, and everyone FOMOs, the stuff. It's just there's so much cool stuff. It's the only place you can
It's
buy
massive,
it.
isn't it?
It's huge.
Oh, it's huge.
It's
Yeah.
enormous. And they, of course, have it down to a system. I mean, we had guys on our trip buying all kinds of crazy crap, like master-scented candles. We had a dude that bought a gnome, a master's gnome. It's just the palpable, oh my gosh, I'm here.
Yeah.
And you're just buying all kinds of crap. And you go to the shop, and then you buy your chairs.
Sure.
And so you go in there and you buy your chairs, and then on Wednesday you go line up because you may not know this, I didn't, but the par 3 course is a totally separate course from Augusta National. I thought when they did the par 3 contest, they modified the holes.
Oh no, it's
It's a
complete
whole
golf
separate course. I didn't know that. And so they have it roped off, and like 9:30, they open it up, and then you all kind of walk quickly to your spots.
Because you can't run.
You can't run. There's no running at
No
Augusta.
patrons, no.
Patrons don't run.
Yeah.
My gosh. Plebes run at, like the Wyndham, but not at the Masters.
Yeah.
And you go, and then we would always secure our seats right along the walkway where they'd come down off of the 8th hole, and we'd be right there and could talk to all the players that come through, and you're right on TV with ESPN, and it's great. It's just the best. You eat, drink, have fun.
How many Masters Cups did you collect?
Oh yeah, so that's great. So if you ever do go to the Masters, you can buy souvenirs in the shop, and they're super expensive. But I recommend you just collect the cups, because like for $3 they'll sell you a soda, for $4 they'll sell you a beer, and they come in literally Masters cups.
Yeah.
Let's say Masters 2019, 2020 on them, and people just leave them all over the place. And me and my friends, we're like scooping them up.
It's like an IKEA and stealing pencils, right?
It's like the crazy dudes that go like after like a football game and they pick up all the souvenir cups.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
But like, anyway,
It's the Masters.
Yeah. So I'm not going to turn down a free Masters cup. And then you give them out as souvenirs.
Yeah.
To all your
The best
buddies.
gift. It's the best gift.
Here's a
Yeah.
cup. You drink out of them all year. And remember the time that security took you and hauled you out and...
So
That's a
our
great
buddy
story.
Rick, who will probably listen to this podcast, 14, 16 times, he got Friday tickets last year.
Okay.
And we had a chance to talk to him about trying to get into the Masters on Thursday to follow Tiger's last 9 holes, because people start leaving. If you wake up at 4 and get there at 7
Yeah.
and get in, by the time 3, 4 o'clock rolls around, you're tired, but the last groups are finishing up. So Rick was able to score a ticket that's a secondary sale. So
Okay.
every ticket you get to get into the Masters twice. So Rick was able to, for a very minimal amount, I think it was $100.
Yeah.
He was able to somehow get a ticket.
Not
someone coming out.
$2,500.
Right,
Yeah.
just $100.
Just $100.
So to go in, and he gets into the Masters Thursday actual round.
Right.
Gets to walk the whole course, gets to buy his chair for he and his dad, because they had tickets on Friday, which let them put their chairs out first thing and not have to wait in line to
Yeah.
get their chair. And so he
That's
gets
really
in
cool.
on Thursday, and he's right there. What hole was that?
It was 14, where the security guard about takes out Tiger, and he's standing there right on the ropes, watching that security guard come sliding in and about blow out Frank Gord,
Right.
Tiger's knee.
Yeah.
Just demolished it.
So there are ways you can be creative to get in. This is super fun talking about the Masters, but that's an all-time story for Jared
And
and I.
you stayed
of-
like way out of town, right?
Yeah, a couple
Because
hours. You just can't. There's nothing you can book in town.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although the November Masters this year, if it does happen on that November 9th to the 15th,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see kind of how that looks like in the fall. I'm really interested. We, I think that hopefully the once in a lifetime trip will happen maybe 3 years in a row.
That'd be great.
Yeah, once you go, it's like drugs. Once you go, you're looking for the next hit. It's awesome.
And it'll never be in the fall again. You got to go.
You gotta go. Yeah,
you got to
exactly.
go.
It was the one year that it was in the fall. You're right. I went to the
sweet.
Ryder Cup that year. I went to a Monday because it was in Wales. I missed it. I don't think it's gone to a Monday ever before that day.
That's awesome.
So that was
amazing.
lucky, super lucky. But
fun.
you were on TV as well though. Again, it wasn't just the par 3. It was the previous year. You were on.
We were the first year we went on the par 3 because the way we set our chairs up.
Because I remember
right
seeing
in front of
like
a
you
camera.
and Ines and you, and Levine was with you at the same time.
Levine
right?
went the first trip.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
it's been incredible, and some of the best memories of our lives. I think for people who are big enough golf fans who are listening to This Is Oklahoma Golf podcast, you got to go.
So,
like just one time in your life, you got to
100%,
make plans.
I recommend it. You got to go, and most of the tickets you buy in the secondary market are going to be legitimate. My experience was rare. I'm serious.
I mean, to get money back and go find the guy again is rare as well.
Very rare. I was ready to like fight. I was like, I'm calling the police. I am going to have the Augusta Popo out here on this guy. Like, you have ruined my trip. But just think about it. Like, I mean, and is it expensive? Yes. But like, we knew for the older guys that we took on our trip, they probably have more money than we do. But for whatever reason, they've never like thought we should go do this.
Right.
And like, you should go do it. It is a memory and an experience. It will be in the pictures of me at the Masters will be in my funeral slideshow.
Right.
So when I'm dead and I have lived my life, you will see me standing in the Masters in my funeral slideshow with some sad music in the background.
Yeah.
But I'll be there.
We just have the Masters music playing.
Good idea. My wife will not sign up on that.
Jim Nance talking about it.
The trip with our buddies was trip of a lifetime, and then last year taking our dads and being able to have Jer. Tell him what you did to invite your surrogate dad. Like, tell him what you did to.
Well, it was we just showed up at his house after Christmas and said, "Hey, Terry, we got a Christmas gift for you." And it's me and my lifelong friend Brad Wilson, and we've been friends for 30 years. And showed up randomly at Terry Potter's house on like some night in December. We said, "Hey, Terry, we got a gift for you." So he comes and he's like, "This is weird. You guys never been to my house. Haven't been to my house since we were in high school together with his son." And we have a master's chair, and we give it to him. We say, "Hey, buddy, here's a master's chair right from the Masters." "Oh, thanks, guys. That's really nice. Thank you for bringing it to me." And they were like, "And you're going to be sitting in it at Augusta this April with us when we go back." And he's like, "No, Jer, no, you can't do this. No way." It's like, "Yeah, Terry, it's going to be awesome." "No, I can't no." And I'm like, "No, you're going."
Yeah.
I think my friend's dad, when we told him, he started crying.
Yeah.
It's just like, great.
Right, and just have that experience. Like, that's one thing I would love to
You got to
call dad up
man.
and be like,
You gotta
"Hey,
take
by
him.
the way, like, you've got to go,"
So
like, book your
my
plane
dad
ticket.
flew from Oregon to Oklahoma, and then we flew to Georgia, and then we drove to Athens and
Yeah.
stayed at the Hyatt place, and then drove together to the Masters, drove back, stayed that night, fly home. And when we get done, my dad, there's so many goosebump, chilling moments to experience while you're there. And I get this note from my dad in the mail, and he's like, "As much as the Masters meant the world to me, it was 3 days with my kid just being together."
Yeah.
Like, that was the gift. And I thought I was giving him the gift of the Masters, but in so many ways, like, I looked back and
You get to hang out with
when was
you
the
3
last time
days.
that it was
Yeah.
just he and I
No phones.
for that long?
Yeah.
No phones, just being together and see. I mean, how many years? I remember watching, so I'm 40.
Yeah.
The 86 Masters, I'm 7 years old. My dad, his hero. I mean, my dad has a plaque of Jack Nicklaus's accomplishments that I remember growing up with. So I remember the 86 Masters and Jack making that putt, one of the most significant moments of my life. And we're sitting there watching that moment. I'm getting chills now thinking about sitting there and being on 16 and watching him skip it across the pond and being a chance to just smell and be. And we've been so incredible. The last 2 years the weather's been perfect. I mean, actually probably a little hot last year. I mean, it was just so beautiful. So fun to start this podcast with that story. We actually have a list of stories of our golf stories. I don't know what you expect
We have a tea time that we can't miss as well, because we are currently recording at Golf Club of Edmond in the whatever this dining room is, like
Well,
just
and
almost
it's
in
an
the kitchen.
essential
If you
service.
can, it is. You're
in the
right.
middle of COVID.
Yeah, essential
Thank
service.
God,
Yeah.
Edmond City Council, praise be to you
Yeah.
for keeping the essential service of the golf course
It's a
open.
beautiful day today. This place is packed.
It is. It's packed. They're going to have their best month ever. Most businesses are going bankrupt. The Golf Club of Edmond is cashing checks, baby. Good for them.
Grateful for
Great for them.
So yeah, if you hear anything going on in the background, we are literally right next to the kitchen. So shoved us in the corner. But yeah, Jason, this is your home golf course, right?
Yeah.
It's been for what, a year now?
This is my
Over a year?
second year that
Second
I've
year?
been here. It'll be 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September. We had a chance to move out here and get a place, and I love it out here. I mean, every course you can find a variety of different things wrong that you would change, or there's a couple greens out here that I think that are unfair.
Need to
I don't
be-
like the tee
need to be
box on
blown up.
17. There's a few things like
15.
that need work, but man,
Yeah.
I love it. I love the staff. I love the team. I think it's in great shape right now, and I love golf, man. And so being able to be on a golf course was something that, you kind of always dream of when you golf or when you're a kid growing up. I want to live on a golf course.
Yeah.
And so being able to especially take a little cart my dad got me for my 40th birthday, take out my daughter in the evenings. I got a daughter who's 12 and a daughter who's 7, both like to play. And being able to just have the facility right there has been super fun. And as you know, like, when you play, you get better, and
You do.
so I think I'm a little bit better player now than I was 2 years ago. We'll
Yeah,
see if it keeps up.
Before you showed up, we were chatting about. Lam was reminding me of how we destroyed you on your 40th birthday party, 40th birthday round out here, and then you went into hiding and deep deep grind mode over the winter and have come out.
Oh yeah, the
all
last time I beat
cylinders.
Smitty was on his birthday. I beat him by like 5 shots, and ever since then,
Haven't seen him since.
he's got a picture of me posted above his bed as he does yoga and stretches, and he's like, "Never again will I let that former offensive lineman beat me. Never again. Not going to happen."
Worst birthday ever.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But you're my coach, Mike. You're my coach. I asked you. I think after Lamb beat me so bad on my 40th birthday, I think I asked the
Something
question,
has to change.
How do I get better?
Yeah.
And you said, you got to take your belly fat and turn it into core strength.
Not say that.
Yes,
Those are
you
not-
did. No,
those
you
are
the
not-
exact
those
words.
are not my
Take
words.
your belly fat and turn it into
Yeah.
core strength and
Yeah.
do yoga every day for 10 years.
Yeah.
And so on November 1st, I started doing yoga, and I've done yoga, I think it's like 158 of 160 days.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I'm down about 30 pounds total.
Yeah.
And my wife got a Peloton for Christmas, and I've been on that quite a bit, and hoping to take some of your advice, and you've helped me get better.
Yeah, short
and
games.
kinda-
Short games definitely improved, right? Ball striking and just
Yeah.
general. Let's get
Yeah.
you around the golf course and stop thinking about irrelevant thoughts.
Yeah, you
then.
helped me with,
one
the
thing.
mental game, and
Yeah.
I think that you have two different podcasts. You've got This is Oklahoma Golf, and This is Oklahoma. I think that they're on the same network.
Yeah.
But we talked about what an accomplished golfer you are, and it's been fun for me to learn from you on the mental side of golf about, I think, just how well you think your way around the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and I hope to get better. My goal is to be able to, I told you this was my goal. My goal is to, from 40 to 50, get better.
Mm-hmm.
And between 55 and 60, I want to play in the U.S. Senior Amateur Championship, the national championship for
Yeah.
seniors. So it's a 15-year goal, which is kind of how I operate. I like long-distance goals. You do too. I mean,
Yeah, I
the
like
marathon
long, yeah.
you've accomplished
Yeah.
and the ultra marathon you did, and you're going to think you're going to do like some other things that you've
Some
done.
other
but,
crazy stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so it's fun to have a goal out there and to try to think small steps.
Yeah, definitely.
Yesterday I broke par for the first time in 4
That's
years.
what we're going to dive into.
Yeah,
So Lamb obviously played with you yesterday. Big day, first. You know.
First off, I broke 80, which I was pretty pumped about. I made a 9 on a hole, still broke 80. Feels pretty sweet,
Solid.
guys. I made a
Solid
9 and a 9 and a 7 on 2 par 5s on the front and broke 80. So
There you go.
Yeah.
You felt better than he did walking off the
I sure
course.
did. He beat me by 11 shots, and I felt like I just won the U.S. Open. My golf coach in high school said, he's like, Lamb, you can never have a good round with a 3-putt or a double bogey. And I'm like, what about a quad, Coach Glasgow? What about
And a
that?
one-putt quad.
Yeah, 1-putt quad. It's probably a 20-foot putt I had to make for my quad. He also would always tell me that the safest place he could stand would be right by the pin or in the middle of the fairway when
Yeah.
I was like on the tee. And I was like, Coach, you're really inspiring me.
It explains a lot about your golf game. This does.
Well, Jason's golf game is great. Mike, you're the best golfer I've ever played with regularly. My golf game, for all you guys out there, I think the best part about my golf game is I'm just lucky. I'm not really good at anything else. Not a great putter, not a great ball. I'm probably one of the state's best lag putters.
We discovered that last week.
I'm one of the best lag putters you'll ever see. Usually I'm lagging it in there, though, for bogey. But not a great putter, not a great iron striker. Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Short game off the tee is always questionable. I triple cross myself. You guys double cross. I triple cross. So I blow it. Aim right, blow it right, but it still hooks back left into the gunch at the end. So
Yeah.
it's been fun playing with you guys. You guys are tons of fun.
So-
I love to beat Jason Smith, and that happens rarely.
What is, with you saying all that stuff, like what does golf mean to you though? Like there's a reason you keep playing. Before we dive into Jason's hole by hole, which will take up the last half of the podcast, why, of all I love playing with you because it doesn't matter how good or bad I play, I laugh for 3 or 4 hours constantly. And that's the beauty of hanging out and playing with mates and playing golf, right? But
Right. And that's it
you
for
know.
me. I hate practicing. If I'm going to play golf, I want to just play.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like being with people. I don't like to play by myself. I'm not going to just go out and play around. Jason will go play and hit, and he likes some of the best golfers you'll meet are the ones that love to just be alone and work their game. I do it because it's fun to be with people. If I have 4 hours free by myself, I'm not going to go play golf if no one can come with me.
yeah,
So it's about being together.
fair enough. That explains it definitely. So, Jason, first tee. Yes. What time did you guys tee off yesterday?
Oh, I don't
Deep
know.
dive.
No way, no way. So let me turn that because no one cares about what I shoot.
This is a big.
Oh, by the
moment for
way,
you.
that's a great line because no one cares
No one
about
cares.
what you shoot. I was even thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about, your friend Michael Gellerman.
Yeah.
And what a tough year it's been for him to finally get his card, and then we have all these events that have just been canceled and so much unknown. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to re-exempt people the next year? How all that logistically is going to work out? He's got to be a mess. And thinking, that he's playing at the top level of golf, and even then, 6.9 billion people still don't care.
Yeah, absolutely
what you
okay.
shoot.
Yeah.
It's like the key. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But even if Gellerman shoots bad, I'm heartbroken for him. I'm not disappointed in him, right? Like we stand Gellerman, right? Like I follow every shot he has hit on the PGA Tour. I have followed on a shot tracker, and if it's not shot tracker, I still follow the shot, even if it doesn't give me exactly if it's an opposite field event. And yeah, it's amazing to me. I've got to keep saying that, but that's some of the mental game that you've helped me with.
Yeah.
So
nobody cares.
what golf means to me, like I am different than you. I love to practice. I practice every day. I practice. I have to make sure I hit some wedge shots. It's what you told me when I started to try to get better.
Yeah.
Jason, you've got to get better from 50 to 80 yards. That has to be automatic. And so you've given me drills to be able to work on that. I love to putt. I putt every day in my house. I've got a well putt mat, wellputt.com. No free ads.
No
Sorry.
free ads. I would love one in the mail if they want one. They're probably they're slammed with business right now.
That's exactly right.
Practicing in their house.
So I putt every day in my house. I've putted every day in my house since Christmas. I love to practice. I love to play alone. But for me, golf is about friendships and relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that we were here today wouldn't be... Even Southern Nazarene University, which is we have ties to, you and me, Mike. Yesterday, this week I also played with Coach Derek Taylor and graduate assistant and all-decade GAC member Rhett Bechtel. They were able to come out here and play with me on Monday. And to get a chance to be with those guys, like the way that golf has... So much of my life and friendships are centered around this game, and some of the best memories of my whole life with my dad are around this game. Like, so for me, it's just so special.
Was Rhett the guy that was pounding drives one day before an event trying to get his swing fixed?
No.
And you went up to him and were like,
What are you doing?
What are you doing, mate? You can't fix your swing. I always try to fix my swing.
It was either Igo or it was Dalton
Igo.
Roden, probably.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
three in SNU history since I've been there. There's been 3 range rats, as we like to call them. Eric Smith is probably one of the best guys striking wise on a range. He never missed a golf shot on the range. You put him on the first tee, and it was if you
Blows
just
it in the
cut his
driving range
hands
at
off.
Hefner North.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then Dalton Roden. Dalton just loved hitting balls on the range, and there was one time at Galladia, after the round we'd play at Galladia, and he's on the range. I went up and I said, "What happened today? How'd it go?" "Oh, I just wasn't at my driver well." "Okay, cool. How many fairways did you hit?" It's like, "Oh, I hit like 10 fairways." Okay, 10 out of 14 is pretty good. I said, "Show me what you're doing wrong." And he's hit like 5 in a row, dead straight. It's like, "Yeah, but I'm just not striking them well." "How many putts do you have today?" He's like, "Oh, 33. I'm like, "Go to the putting green right now." You're in the wrong place.
spot.
Doesn't matter how good you strike it. If it goes straight, it goes straight.
Lamb, what do you say though when we're warming up before a round and you've got like a group of our guys together? What do you say when you walk down the
First
range?
off, if I actually hit balls before a round, that would be really impressive. I'd be really trying to impress somebody. But our saying is, I'm just out here on the range trying to fix 20 years of habits in 15 minutes before I tee off. I think it shows in my game.
Triple cross off the
Triple
first.
cross. Yeah, listen, it takes a special type of athlete to triple cross. It really
It's
does.
impressive stuff, definitely. What with current events and current news, the Open being cancelled, I had a bit of my group text with a few of the college golfers I played with. We were talking about it the other day, and Tim, who's been on the podcast, was like, "Why can't you just have it in November?" Like, because I looked at the Open tee times; they go from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. The sun rises in November at like 8 o'clock and it sets at like 3:30 back home. So there's no way you're going to get it in.
Yeah.
But with that whole going on, it is still, they're still going to have it in the same place next year, and it's still going to be the 149th, and St. Andrews will be the 150th in 2 years.
Good.
But it's such an uncertain time, isn't it, for golf? Like, it's, now it's getting real with like legit tournaments like the Masters being postponed and the Open being cancelled.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Have you been looking at much of the news? Have you seen anything about it? Are you a big watcher of the Open, the real Open, as some Americans won't like to say, but it is the Open? What are your thoughts on it? Do you watch the Open?
Oh, yeah.
I love that you wake up and it's on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something special about that for me. I really like that. The memories watching it for sure. But yeah, it's funny. I do care about the majors, but with my relationship with Michael Gellerman,
Yeah.
I'm caring more about these guys on the Corn Ferry Tour.
He's a rookie this year, too,
Yeah, he's a
right?
rookie this year. He's
Yeah.
got his tour card for the first year. I'm more worried about the guys on the Corn Ferry Tour that I followed. Some of the Oklahoma guys that you're featuring on your Instagram account.
It is interesting. That has changed for me. I love watching the majors. I'm a huge Tiger fan, 100% Tiger. I mean, he's just a couple
Same.
years older than us, and just love watching him and always root for him. But I've lost a little interest in watching millionaires make a couple more $1 million. Like, that doesn't do it for me. Like, Justin Thomas winning, the RBC Open doesn't really, do it for me. Watching the guys, grind their whole career and then have a chance to, actually make it.
Scott Harrington last year.
Yeah, Harrington. The Corn Ferry Tour in Portland might be my favorite event of the year when those guys either solidify their card or don't solidify their card.
Yeah.
I just that's really awesome. When you think about it, though, going forward, I feel like golf probably has the easiest time navigating everything with COVID in the sense that you can really limit who you're around. And, there's this meme going around, right? I've been practicing social distancing for years. I play golf.
Yeah.
So it's kind of of all the things to get started back up, it seems like it would be the one with the least amount of practical things you got to overcome, or because you could, and once we get rapid testing that's ubiquitous and we have plenty of it, you could literally test everybody before the event and let anybody know if they tested positive, and then they couldn't play. But if they tested negative, then they could go play or something like that. And you're not going to be, the groups aren't big, no patrons, no spectators.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know, man. It's they canceled the Open for World War II as the last time.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it again. And you're it just, I don't know, kind of depresses you. Makes you realize what a scary time it is for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
You're in healthcare. My wife's in healthcare. We have a lot of people that we care about who are in healthcare, and it'll be really interesting to see how we remember this 5 months from now, 6 months from now, but also just 10 years from now. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to even probably maybe listen back to this in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think that we'll be talking about this to our kids.
Right.
Forever. And we have no idea what it's going to look like at Christmas. We just don't know. We don't know.
And in the
Lots of
grand
uncertainty.
scheme of things, this podcast and golf in general doesn't mean anything, right? Like you
No.
said earlier, who cares about golf?
Yeah,
Nobody
be
cares
able
about
to share
golf.
fun stories. Can
Yeah.
I pitch him a couple stories?
I want
wanted
to say,
tell?
what is on the list of things that we got to cover today?
We both grew up going to municipal golf courses. I grew up at Shadow Municipal Golf Course in Ontario, Oregon. Doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. It was a goat track. I loved the experience of growing up in a muni.
Is it a
And-
neighborhood now, housing development?
No, it's nothing.
Really?
It's in the middle of a...
the worst.
It's just...
no one even got an equity moment
Right,
from it.
exactly.
No real estate developer
Dude, it
came
was
in.
surrounded by... Have you ever heard of Ore-Ida fries? Like Ore-Ida the brand?
No.
Your listeners have. Ore-Ida stands for Oregon, Idaho. I grew
Okay.
up on the border of Oregon and Idaho. And so it's surrounded by potatoes and onions. That's what surrounded our course. Now there's just a field. I mean, it's so sad to me, but it was not a great course. But some of my greatest memories are looking for golf balls. And I want JR to tell his Hefner golf course, growing up, hunting for golf balls, adventures at Hefner.
Well, Hefner was my home course growing up. I started playing there when I was 14. And, when you play a course growing up, the hard holes that you remember when you're 14, I was listening to you and some of your bodes talking the other day about how easy 10 was for you guys. You hit
North or south?
The south. Number 10 is an easy
Yeah,
hole.
yeah,
You get in that bunker sometimes, but you guys are well, sometimes you can't take driver off the tee because you get. I'm like, what the? What are you talking about? I played that thing into a hot, dirty wind, year after year after
busting,
year, swinging driver 4-iron just to pray to hit that huge green. I hated 10. I also hated 2 on the south growing up as a 14-year-old. Those are long holes, and back into the wind every time. Ugh, freaking brutal. But what me and my friends would do in high school is we'd go fishing for golf balls. And you could buy this little thing on eBay. It was this little Golf Fisher thing. It had a rope on it. You'd launch it in and pull it back. And it was this little trap about the size of a shoebox. And you would pull it in and get some golf balls. So me and my buddies would go out to Hefner after it closed and go fishing for golf balls.
Yeah.
And our favorite place to go was 17. On the north.
Sure.
Because it's that long par 3 over the water. You're probably taking a knockdown 6. I'm taking a choke down driver to get there or whatever. Anyway, And so eventually you would use this little device and be pulling them in, and you would just get tired of using it because you maybe pick up 2, but if you just threw your whole body in the water and like lay down in the water and feel with your feet and hands, you could just feel these balls. We just launch them up.
Are you having like goggles on?
No, you don't need snorkels.
No?
You just need, but it's like, it's like 9,
No
10 o'clock at
wetsuit,
night.
yeah.
Everything is closed. Middle of summer. It's 10 o'clock at night. And so one time we go and we drive around by the boathouse and park on this gravel road off by like number 5 on the north. And we'd park there and then cut across because you don't go park in the parking lot of
Right.
like, you can, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's too obvious because there's lake patrol and there's cops.
Well, it's like people now who are trying to sneak on the golf course because it's closed. They're not going to park in the
You're not going to
parking
park
lot.
in the
Yeah.
parking lot, right? You're going to park off somewhere else. So we parked somewhere else, and we just, I don't know, it was just a huge night. I mean, right? And we have like a trash sack full,
Gold
like a
mine.
heavy, it was gold mine. I said, guys, I'm not going to carry these back to, I'm not going to carry these all the way back to my truck. I'm going to go drop these behind a tree on number 11 on the north and leave them there. And then as we drive out, we'll go get them. So we make our way back to our car. Me and my 3 friends, we're like soaking wet. We jump in.
How old? So you're old enough to drive? So 16.
Old enough to drive, but not an adult for like criminal purposes, right? So any charges
Yeah.
would be juvenile charges, right?
Slap on the wrist.
So, and this is like white privilege at its finest, right? Like white kids thinking, I'll just trespass and steal and everything will be fine.
It's just golf balls. It doesn't
Right?
matter.
Like things that black folks are like, you're going to do what?
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. Are you crazy?
What was the goal? What was the best golf ball at that time?
The professional.
Okay.
The professional 100. This
Okay.
is before Pro V.
Yeah.
So what we do
It
is
was
we
the
get
90 and the 100. Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
90 and 100.
Yeah.
We all thought we could hit the 100s. We probably couldn't, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we were probably swinging pretty hard back then. So, and then we'd have like a draft. You go and you clean them all up and you draft the balls.
Yeah.
Max Flies were a good ball then. Like, Max Fly, Greg Norman.
Slozengers, whatever.
Lozengers. So we dropped them behind the tree, and then as we're pulling out the gravel road, we get pulled over.
Yeah.
And a cop comes and pulls us over, and like comes up to my window, and I'm driving. He's like, "What you boys been doing? You haven't been sneaking on the golf course getting golf balls, like drenched." I'm like drenched, like head to toe. We got towels down in my truck, and I'm like, "No, sir. What were you doing? Oh, we're just hanging out here by the lake. You don't have any golf balls?" He's like looking in my bed, and I'm like, "No, sir, I don't. I don't because they're behind the tree on 11." And he lets us go. And we just felt like, the Italian job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Felt like Ocean's 11, stealing all those golf balls. It was great. A lot of fun. Our statute of limitations, I think, is passed on that. No one's going to come.
Yeah. We
Give me for that
used to
one.
do the same thing back home though with the golf course I grew up at. Like we kind of the typical summer as a kid, right? Your mum and parents drop you at the golf course at 9 o'clock in the morning and pick you up at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You get so much for the day, and you'd all hang out and play golf all day. And we would have ball hunts, and there would be 10 of us that would just go, and there was like this 9th hole dogleg left down the hill, and there was a field that it doglegged around, which is like a farmer's field. And if you were feeling, confident, you take the corner over, or you just knock one down. And we'd just go and line up and walk in a huge line, but everyone would get they'd have a draft, right? So you'd have someone would be number 1, and then 1 to 10 or whatever, and you'd go. But we spent hours out there, just every day. All right, time for a ball hunt, let's go. Because you played, 27 holes already, and it's 3 o'clock. What else do you want to do? Let's just go look for golf balls.
For golf balls.
So yeah, that's something that I think every kid should definitely have the experience of, just going ball hunting with their mates. It's just hanging out looking for golf balls.
Well, with the girls, so my 12-year-old
Yeah.
and 7-year-old, it's been so fun to have these nights where we either troll the creeks or look in ponds, or there's some spots out here at number 1, a bunch of people lose their tee shot right, and nobody wants to go search for 5 minutes for their first tee shot, so just reload,
Sure.
hit a second shot, and just leave that one. So there's some certain spots that we go to find just a bunch of golf balls, and it's super fun to watch even the personalities of my girls. I think you guys are like this, knowing both of my girls. Like, for McCall, she's competitive.
Yeah.
Like, she wants to find the most possible. Well, Berkeley is trying to have the most fun as possible.
it's like, ooh, frog.
So Berkeley's getting lost, or playing in the mud.
Yeah.
McCall's diligently how many of these can we get? And Berkeley's having as much fun as she possibly can. It's really interesting, and I that's been fun. Just walking through the creeks out here, it's super fun to be able to find. And it's I think that everyone listening to this podcast has probably had a chance where they felt like they just said, I'm going to give myself to this moment to be able to find as many golf balls as I can. And it feels awesome.
Yeah, and it's nothing. I mean, no, doesn't matter how old you are. When you find a golf ball that's worth $4, it's $4. It's a Pro V right now, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to the day when I have enough money to where like that doesn't
matter.
Get me pumped up.
No, don't worry
but
about it. Yeah.
As a man who collected Masters cups off the ground from Augusta, I am not at that point yet.
I think I went through a phase as a kid that collected logoed golf balls.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, like just the crap, like a terrible, like really bad golf ball, but it had a good logo on it, and it was just, you know, gold mine kind of thing. But anything else on the list before we wrap up and go hit some balls and warm up? And
So one time I went and you guys know Steve Ball.
yeah,
Great guy. I love what he does with kids. I thought about taking my kids over there and having them start work with him. I'm feeling pretty big daddy a couple years ago because I have a little money, and I'm like, I'm going to get fitted for a driver. That'll fix all my problems. So I go over to Steve, and I'm like, hey, Steve, will you mind fitting me for a driver? He said, oh, no, man, get on in here, let's do it. And he's like, did you bring your clubs out to get warmed up? I'm like, I didn't bring any of my clubs because whatever, I'm just an idiot. I'm an amateur who just gets lucky at golf, and I figure a new driver will help me. I'm like, yeah, you got all the clubs here.
And for people listening who don't know who Steve Ball is, like, just explain like his reputation and his like he's like one of the best coaches, or like the top 25 titleist, something like that. What is?
He is.
I don't really
and he's
know.
got a great facility right off of 235.
Sure.
You see the little sign, and it's kind of hidden. It's back behind like warehouses and stuff. And you go back there, and it's like a beautiful driving range and like a great facility.
He had a swing set when I walked up there. Like kids were like on the monkey bar. It's like, this is
super
a golf
kid-friendly.
range.
Yeah, super.
And he does a lot of good stuff with kids where he really works on their athleticism and making them good athletes and getting quick before he even puts a club in their hand.
TPI stuff.
He's super like, let's get you fast and quick before we worry about, hitting the ball, which maybe I should have done.
So you thought, let's get me some of this.
Let's not get quick, Steve. Let's just give me the club. I'm going to pay $500. So we go out, and he hands me, he's like, okay, well, you should warm up. And before I hit this driver, I was like, okay, I didn't bring the clubs. He hands me a 7-iron, and he's like, hey, Jeremy, what do you normally shoot? I'm like, if I don't break 80, I'm pretty disappointed. So I don't know what that handicap is. Whatever. Handicap, slope, no, I don't know what any of that means. Who cares? Who wants to think about that? Let's just go score and make some putts. So I'm like, if I don't break 80, I'm pretty bummed. So it's a handicap of 6, 7, whatever. Who knows? And he hands me a 7-iron to warm up. And I don't know what it was. It was a Titleist blade-looking thing with a sweet spot like the size of like a dime. And I then proceed, like he's standing behind me. And I've never had anyone like give me a lesson or watch my swing or anything. And I then proceed to literally like shank like 10 shots in a row. Like just hoselled, like can't even get the face straight, like just zooming like darts, like worm burners, like everything. And about the 7th swing, I saw like the light go out in like Steve Ball's eyes, and he's like, oh, well, none of this is really going to matter. And he immediately, instead of like fitting me for a club, starts giving me like a lesson. He's like, okay, well, here's what you really need to try to do. Try to do this. And like, I take 20.
I don't want your money. I don't want $400
He's like,
from
I think
you.
he felt bad. He's like, oh, this guy blows so bad. It doesn't really matter what. I could literally hand him, the original Big Bertha, and he'll be like, it was great. I just watched him die a little bit. Like you've always had when you have like, when people you're interacting with like just check out mentally for whatever reason, because who knows why. I just like watched him be like, oh man, it doesn't really matter. And whatever, he rigs up the driver, I pay whatever, some ungodly price for it, thinking I've just really done something great. I was like, oh, Steve, I was going to get a putter too. Could you? He's like, oh yeah, here, just take this one. This will be fine for you. It's like, okay, thanks. He's a great guy. I loved him. It was awesome. I highly recommend him.
You still have a driver?
Oh, yeah, it's the one I hit with. It's the one I hit with. I mean, listen, man, I spent a lot of money on that sucker. And it came with a free lesson from Steve Ball, because he's like, oh, my God. And then he had to be thinking, you are such a liar. You don't break 80. I haven't seen you get the face square once. How would you break 80? Like on the front? I didn't know. Anyway.
Like, I'm not used to triple crossing with this thing.
He's like, I've never seen a guy triple cross with a 7-iron before. That's really impressive. He was great.
Brilliant.
I loved him.
So as you can tell, he's a great storyteller. He's one of the reasons I love to play golf, and it's always fun to play with him because he's got loads of these stories. But that checks off most of the ones on our list to be able to share with you today.
It's been a pleasure. We'll definitely do this again. We can do, I don't know, recaps and plenty
We've
more
got
Hefner
a
story.
whole podcast. We have a group
Yeah.
of guys we call Dad Prom.
Okay.
We get together once a year. It's our Ryder Cup match. We could do a whole pod if you're interested.
Yeah,
on
we could.
Dad Prom.
Yeah, definitely.
No
We-
one is interested.
Well, I mean, I might get some new listeners out of it. The people who are in the dad prom. That's it.
Oh, you take a golf trip with friends? Oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
Oh, how unique. I've never heard of this before.
There is one thing. It's not golf related, but there is one thing that you said last year when we played, and it was we'd just seen Hamilton. Jason took me to see Hamilton with Taryn, and because you said Katie had tickets or something.
Yeah, we got to.
And we played golf, and I'd never seen it before. And then you came out with one of the greatest takes I've ever heard about Hamilton is the King, right?
Oh.
And saying that like the people just. Do you remember what you said?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Please, this is just people who are listening can check out. This is personally for me to have this on record because it's absolutely hilarious. And if you've seen Hamilton, you'll get it.
So it's King George from Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I think Lin-Manuel, I think he's super smart and super tricky. And so, I mean, what is Hamilton? It is basically the entire cast is black, except for King George. And then he has this one little song in Hamilton that he sings, and it's a funny song. It's about
It's the showiest show tune ever.
Yeah, that's right. And the lyrics are hilarious because he's like, I'm going to remind you of my love while I, bring a battalion to crush and kill you, right? To remind you how much I love you. But it's like this every other song in Hamilton is hip hop. But this one, sung by the only white guy in the cast, is like the showiest of show tune song. Dun 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 dun.
comes out.
Dun, dun, dun. And every white person loves it.
Yeah.
Every white person sings it. My kids they'll hear it, they'll sing it, they'll sing songs. And I was like, I think Lin-Manuel is just trolling every white person, everybody that loves musicals and the theater, and it's the only white dude is singing the whitest song in the middle of a musical that's all about hip hop. And it's anti everything that has been the world of theater, and then all the white people are oh, I love that song. It's
the only one that they walk out singing that song.
It's the only one that sing out humming, and he's just got him. He's got him.
Brilliant.
Take it. And it's take it, Whitey. We're yeah, we will. We love it. It's hilarious.
I never thought of that until you told me. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally right.
He's
because
trolling
everyone
us.
is. Yeah.
Totally trolling us. He's
Has to be.
I'm going to make the whitest character, who's often the villain in the whole thing.
Well, he's also a skinny white guy too,
Yeah.
right? Well, the one that we
Yeah.
saw too. He's not everyone else is very muscular, rapping and R&B songs and stuff, and big,
Just
skinny little.
I literally imagine him when he's writing that song, just thinking, what's the worst, most stereotypical tune we could write for this guy? Let's do this. And and then of course all the white people just eat it up. So.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think we'll end on that. Gents, pleasure. Let's go play some golf and see if we can break 68 now.
Let's do it.
New goal. Awesome. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week. Cheers.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.